When we started, the first question I got was, why will people buy plants online? वो आएगा भी क्या?
On this episode of State of Retention Marketing, I sit down with Siddhant Bhalinge, founder of Ugaoo, to uncover how they've scaled across web and app platforms, built a loyal customer base, and mastered retention in a passion-driven category.
I knew that flowers were getting replaced by plants for sure. Now again with seeds, there are two seasons. Once you sow in June, once you sow in Jan. So we know when to nudge you next. Coupon codes definitely work, time-based of course. And now consumers also have become smarter. They will abandon and get a coupon code and then use that. We talk in a certain way that you have adopted a baby from us. We also care about that baby even if you have adopted it, and we really want that to really thrive.
From a 25-acre farm to one of India's biggest DTC gardening brands, Ugaoo is redefining the online plant industry.
We are delivering almost more than 5,000 plants a day only through quick commerce. Majority we try to target tier 1, but I think over the last 2 years, we are seeing a lot of orders from tier 2 and tier 3.
Whether you are a founder or a growth marketer, this one's packed with insights you don't want to miss.
After 2-3 months is when you establish that emotional connect with plants. Many people start talking to plants. Many people name their.
Hi everyone, this is Priyam, the host of the State of Retention Marketing podcast by WebEngage. Today, we're joined by Siddhant Bhalinge, founder and CEO of Ugaoo, who built India's leading gardening brand from the ground up. In this episode, we uncover their brand building journey, customer lifecycle strategies, and what it takes to grow from 0 to 1 in a niche category. Let's dive in. Hi Siddhant, how are you doing? Welcome to the State of Retention Marketing podcast by WebEngage. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Priyam. I'm doing great. Hope you're doing fine as well.
Lovely, Siddhant. It's awesome to have you here. Siddhant, we know you as the co-founder and CEO of Ugaoo. I would love to find out a little bit about your journey. What was the idea that led to you creating really a pioneer in this space?
So I think, I come from a family business background. But the family business is India's oldest seed company. So since childhood, the conversations at the dinner table were always around plants, plant technology, what is coming in. So I had a natural belonging to plants and I was good in design. So that's how I ended up going to the US for 5 years, did my bachelor's in landscape architecture. Wow. So that's where I learned what value plants add to people's lives and the spaces around them. And when I got back in 2014, I realized that the category was not at all developed or organized in India. It was very unorganized. The way plants were sold, the way plants were presented was not really right. And I really wanted to fill that gap. And when it comes to stores, there are no specialized gardening stores in India. Usually people are going to these agriculture shops and buying some products and do jugaad and use them for gardening. So I thought the Indian market deserves a brand in this, and that's how it all started 9 years ago.
Amazing. So Sid, did you mentioned that you were in the US, you did a lot of study in that direction as well. Was there something like this in the US? Did you ever come across something similar that led to you pioneering this in India?
Not really. No one had done it online in the US. Over there, it's more offline, like big box stores like Lowe's and Home Depot that are big into this category. Same thing in Europe. There are larger garden centers that had done this. Back in 2014, online was the hot space. I wanted to cover a larger geography, right? Because, it's always, you can reach out to more people. The audience is larger and you can have a larger impact also in the consumer behavior or in the market overall. So that's why we took the plunge. I think we had to solve a lot of problems and there were a lot of challenges because when we started, the first question I got from, at the press conference was, why will people buy plants online? वो आएगा भी क्या? Does a plant go inside a box? Right. I can understand, fashion, electronics, but how can you transit a living thing inside a box? How is it going to survive? So the belief was not there. Had a lot of challenges, but I'm glad those challenges came our way and we could solve one challenge at a time and prosper from there.
That I'm so glad you mentioned that's it because as one of the early customers, I always used to think how the hell is a plant going to get delivered to my place, and I remember placing an order uh, way back in time, and I was quite surprised to figure out or rather discover that you guys had figured out the technology on the logistical side of things, where these cylindrical tubes were the Ugaoo packages that were delivered, and you had to cut them open, and the plant was intact inside. So that was, of course, a breath of fresh air. That was really brilliant. So kudos to you guys on cracking that, of course. But I'm gonna get you back to how you guys started. I know Ugaoo has a website, of course, and an app as well. But in the early days, tell us about your journey. How did you guys start off on the website? What kind of an experience did Ugaoo have back in the day?
It was a very different experience back in the day. I wish there was Shopify back in 2014, right?
Of
Where
course.
you can create a store in 5 minutes and get going and start selling.
Right.
I think we spent more than 9 months developing the website itself. We were hosted on Magento,
Right.
which was a complex development, and
To say in
it
the
was
least.
and it was all custom, right? Because we
Right.
wanted to give that experience online. So we could not really adopt a ready theme and really build on it. We had to like design the overall flow, really think about the customer, what problems is he going to have, or what questions he would have, how the categories have to be placed, what products should come on the top, and then how do you go, or how the flow goes. So a lot of thought was put in, and a lot of time was put in. I think I got the chance to work with one of the best talents in the early days, who
Amazing.
were also showed the same passion while developing the website, because they were really like, oh, this is so cool.
Right.
We haven't seen this ever in
Right.
India, so we really want to work on this. So
Right.
it was a very rewarding, and I think now it has become quite easy. I mean, now you
Right.
just
Right. Of
have to pick
course.
a theme and you get going within a day or so. And that time it was just a one-man army, right? So I had to write almost 400 product descriptions. I wrote it myself. I did
Yeah.
not have a content person. Even the photography, right? It was just white background. So
Right.
I had to
Right.
like take those products in a cab in Mumbai to Dadar to a photographer and like show him ki ye angle le lo, wo angle le lo. Now to AI, you just have to like,
Yeah. Yeah.
put a product and it gives you all the angles
Yeah,
and
yeah, you can have fancy
whatnot.
backgrounds, you can have all
Yeah.
sorts of descriptions for sure. Appreciate the hustle, Sid. No doubt. I can imagine. Now, DTC has, as we all are seeing, seen this massive boom, right? So many new brands have come up. They continue to come up and grow as well. How have you seen DTC, direct to customer, evolve for your industry category, which is online gardening? And what do you think is going to happen in the next 5 years?
I think the word direct to consumer was non-existent when we started out. So I think that got coined after COVID. But the idea was that create a brand and talk to the consumer directly, right? If you look at our category, there is no general trade or modern trade. That entire, you can say, supply chain was missing. So what we always had in mind initially was first to educate the customer. And for that, we need to directly talk to them. And social media was the place where we really, like the first 4 years, I remember we were only giving tips, tricks, and information
Right.
about how to start gardening, how to bring a plant home, which plant is the right plant, how to cater for that, how to nurture it. So a lot of time went in that information education phase, and that we did through our website and the social media, because the product the PDP had a lot of information, right from styling with that plant, along with what are the other plants that go with it, how can you maintain the same watering schedule for like the all the plants that you will have at home. So I think that was the entire crux or the pillar of the brand. So talking directly to the consumer was key for us. So the first after the first 4 5 years, I think COVID is when people started really shopping a lot on brand websites. Before that, it was still online shopping was still dominated on Amazon and
The marketplaces, right?
marketplaces. And after COVID is when we saw a huge surge, because we had the control to ship. Us coming from agriculture, we came under the essentials category. I remember when everything was locked down, I used to go to the farm and we were still delivering plants to all the customers out there. So that gave us a lot of attention, and that could have been only possible through our DTC website because marketplaces had shut down taking orders and all. So there are advantages, but I think the consumer behavior is changing quite a lot now. Since 2 years, we have seen a huge shift from our own website to now quick commerce,
Interesting.
wherein we are delivering almost more than 5,000 plants a day only through quick commerce, which is the
Wow.
Blinkit, Zepto, and Instamart. So there's a huge shift, and then so many use cases got unlocked, right? Like our website is more decor oriented. It will give you like the right photos and inspiration and all.
It's about
Uh,
aesthetics and improving the
Aesthetics, and
right.
also you get options for the pots to select. So it's an elevated experience with more choices, but marketplace is more price driven, and quick is opens the the gifting use case for us, wherein
Interesting.
you're going to someone's house party, housewarming, anniversary, birthday. You don't have a gift. Plants are the best gifts for any age, any gender. So suddenly, like we started selling a lot of plants on quick commerce.
Right. How did you guys discover this? Was this a conscious thought, first of all, that hey, gifting is a great category, let's tap into Q-commerce? Or this is something that happens in the reverse direction, where the Q-commerce guys come to an Ugaoo and say, guys, we love you as a brand. You know what? Perfect for gifting.
I think we had to convince them. So it
Okay.
all started almost 2.5 years ago when I think Blinkit had rebranded themselves and they just
Right.
started the 10-minute thing. And I knew that, flowers were getting replaced by plants for sure. And people love gifting, something natural, organic, or a living thing. So we had contacted Blinkit. Why don't you give us a chance? Because gifting is going to be your biggest use case, right? We saw so many companies like FNP, IGP
Right.
kind of really prosper because they could deliver within 2 hours. Now imagine 10 minutes. Early on, they were like very, apprehensive ki yaar, tikega kya nahi ho paega, how will you pack it? So we were like, you leave that to us. Kuch, kuch mat karo, like, if you don't want to pay us, that's fine. But just introduce this category and let people start experiencing that. Yeah, let people buy those products. And suddenly, within 2 months, we saw like a 5x jump. And
Wow.
that's when I really appreciate Blinkit team who really took this category and built it.
Awesome.
And then I think the other two players followed, maybe like 6 months after that.
I'm going to come to you and ask you about customers. What kind of customers do you guys have today across these platforms?
So our customers are more beginners towards gardening. Like
Interesting.
these are the people who don't own a plant yet, who want to get into this hobby or want to start gardening overall. So they are very conscious of the information and which plant should I first start with. And so over the last 9 years, what we have seen that for plants, it is always the newbies or the beginners. For fertilizers and garden tools, it's mostly the professional gardeners, or you can say avid gardeners, or people who are really having 50 pots at home,
Wow.
or
Okay.
have a balcony garden, a terrace garden. So it really ranges from category to category. What I believe is that, if I ask my mom to buy a plant online, she won't, because her consumer behavior is ki she'll go to that local bhaiya,
Right.
pick her plant,
Right.
be able to choose. That's how the behavior has been built. So breaking that is going to be very difficult for the older consumer. But I think the younger Gen Z and millennials, they really prefer knowing the product, studying the product, and believe in buying a brand. So that's most of the consumer, and majority we try to target tier one. But I think over the last 2 years, we are seeing a lot of orders from tier two and tier three. I think they have more time, larger spaces. So also the product mix that they order is very different.
Interesting. Would you like to shed more light on that in terms of the product mix in tier two, tier three towns?
So like a tier two, tier three will order a 5 liter can or a watering hose pipe a 5 kg fertilizer bag. They will order like, spray cans. So if you have a larger garden, you wouldn't want to use a 1 liter sprayer, right?
Correct.
You would want a 60-liter sprayer. We have lawn mowers. We have garden furniture. So they are opting more of that, whereas the tier one is opting more for like smaller plants, maybe just a 1 liter watering can, or smaller things which they can
Right.
possibly keep on their office desk or in their room.
The next question is about the life cycle, right? I would love to find out what's the typical customer life cycle at Ugaoo.
So the discovery to the brand usually happens through social media or Google searches, wherein we also have a blog section, right, where we have published more than 4,700 articles, and these are all authored. These are not Chat GPT or anything. These are all gardeners writing, like really useful information relevant to the Indian weather conditions and Indian climate. So a lot of people discover through reading blogs.
Interesting.
We have a social media handle where we do a lot of content around plants. We impart a lot of knowledge. Of course, emailers is one part as well. So that's where the discovery happens. Now, plants is such a thing that not everyone wants to buy right away, but they always have this thing in mind ki, okay, whenever I move into a new place, or whenever I probably go to office, I want to like decorate my desk, that's when I will buy. So we don't really see that a lot of people are discovering and buying immediately.
Okay.
But we are at the top of their mind. Then they visit the website. They are discovering all the categories, what selection we have, putting filters, sorting key, depending on the number of times you need to water the plant or the size of the plant, the pots along with the plant. So plants is the entry point. Then after plants, we see that they also try with seeds. Then they want to fertilize the plant, pamper it more because it's growing really well. So they're like, okay, let me now give it more food. And then at the end comes like, kind of decorating it with a nicer pot. So that's how we see the journey. And, usually the repeat after the first purchase happens mostly in the next month itself.
Interesting.
A lot of people still are apprehensive of whether I can handle a plant or whether I can take care of a plant. Once they get that confidence in the first 15 days to 30 days, they will again come and order more plants. So the second month is very critical for us, for that repeat to happen. And then after that, it's every one purchase every 6 months.
Do you guys do anything differently for first time users, people who have bought like say 3-4 times in the past, or somebody who's like a super loyal user, right? Like spent 2-3 years buying from you guys in the past. Is it that different? You guys think like that right now?
Yes, so we do a lot of testing through like different kind of landing pages. If someone is coming for the first time, we usually land him on a page which has a plant quiz, which kind of asks you like 10 questions and then tells you what kind of plants suit you. Whereas someone who is coming again is usually landed on the same home page, and then what he has bought before, we try to show an allied category on the home page itself so that he can quickly surf and buy. So that's just a very minor intervention that I think every player is doing right now. But we do wish to kind of make it better going forward.
Interesting. So what you just described, Sid, sounds like a very well thought out onboarding experience almost.
Yeah.
So do you guys collect a lot of data in the initial days? Like what kind of plant interest you have, how experienced are you, what kind of a home do you have, etc., etc. Do you do that to enrich the user profiles at your end?
Yes, so we do ask a lot of questions through the quiz. So that's one part wherein we collect a lot of data, and then that's linked to the profile and the email ID essentially. The second part is, the chat bot that we have, right? That kind of, throws you a couple of questions. How much space do you have? Are you looking for plants, or are you looking for plant care products and all? So little bit understanding we get. But the larger, I would say, bucketing or segmentation happens once the purchase is done. Because through that, we know कि, इसके पास कितना जगह है. Is he, if he's buying smaller plants, then he's an urban customer having lesser space. If he's buying, as I said, buying a lawn mower or buying a, spade or a digging fork, then he definitely has a backyard or a front yard. So then that's how the segmentation is happening. And then we also kind of evaluate whether he is, so there's a plant journey that we make, right? Shuru mein, you'll just buy plants. It's mostly for decor and all.
Right.
After 2-3 months is when you establish that emotional connect with plants, where you start. Many people start talking to plants. Many people name their plants.
I am one of them.
So it's a milestone in that journey, right? That tells that now the customer is emotionally connected with the product, and now then he will start buying fertilizer, या एक fancy pot उसके लिए, या एक कुछ तो भी like an outer decorative stuff, because he wants to enhance that product. So that's what we usually monitor: who's invested a lot into this plant journey and who's just buying it for the first time or maybe buying it for gifting and all. So these are some of the I would say segmentations that we're doing at the moment.
Interesting. I'll double click on that, Sid. Want to jump into one very interesting question that I ask a lot of DTC founders. They always tell me that, yeah, Priyam, the struggle to get the first conversion is always there, because the brand spends a ton of money to acquire the user, right, on a Meta or a Google, and they do end up coming, but they do not make that purchase many times, right? So the founder is always thinking, I need to try something that's going to work, make that person's life easier to make a decision. I'm sure you would have faced that in your journey as well. What was that one hack that helped you guys simplify the very first conversion?
So the problem with us essentially was that they were discovering the brand, they were coming on the website, but they were essentially buying it on the marketplace. They would just jump to Amazon.
Interesting.
Or jump to a Flipkart and then buy it over there, because that trust is higher over there. Wherein agar plant kharab aaya, to they'll get a refund and all. So to avoid that and make it more lucrative to buy on our own website, we've given like a 30-day free replacement. Anything happens to the plant, all you have to do is just click a photo, send it to us, free replacements. If you're not happy with any product, no questions asked, like we will pick it up and get it back. So that convenience or that trust factor got built in.
So you're saying education becomes a big driver for the first conversion to happen. It's not really impulse. While we are on that topic, Sid, what are the plans that you guys have figured out is the fastest mover, like for a first-time buyer, like say a Priyam, right, is landing on the website? What is it that is going to make Priyam not think too much and say, this is a safe bet for my first purchase?
I think it's the money plant. And after money plant, it would be the jade plant, and after that, peace lily. I think these 3 plants are the fastest selling and the best sellers for us.
Awesome. I have a peace lily at home, which is not growing, Sid. I'm going to reach out to you separately to learn what do I need to do. But now coming back to this, is it because the science suggests that these are easy to maintain plants and therefore make for a great first purchase?
Yes. So, for example, a jade, it's considered very prosperous. It's considered as a great gift. For a money plant, there is a saying that if you have money plants at home, money will come, or money is attracted towards.
Nice.
In fact, you're supposed to steal a money plant from someone else so that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's correct. Only then it works is what the saying says. Awesome.
So
all right.
The good thing is that our culture has always talked about plants, right? Like tulsi ho gaya, bamboo. Feng Shui also considers plants. So I think culturally, us Indian people know that which plants are good for us, and they will usually start with that first.
Sid, you mentioned that one of the big movers has been the ability to chat to an expert and talk to them and find out more that, hey, this is what I'm interested in. Are there any other engagement slash interventions that are happening when a user comes on board, does a search, and then abandons midway? Are you guys doing something actively in that space just to ensure the first transaction lands?
So there's a journey in place. The user usually gets, if it's on the app, he gets a notification with a very lucrative discount code. There is an email that goes as a WhatsApp that goes. And there are ways, or we have given options, wherein they can also opt, okay, I'm confused. It's either you buy, you don't want to buy, or I'm a little bit confused and need
All
some help.
right. So
So
there's a
then
third call to action.
then a call goes to them through our expert that what is it that you're looking for and all, and that's how we are able to convert better. And
Interesting.
I think coupon codes definitely work, time based, of course, like for the next 30 minutes. And so that has worked really well for us. And now consumers also have become smarter.
Of course,
That
of
they will
course.
abandon and get a coupon code and then this thing.
For sure. I mean, I hear you. I'm a big sneakerhead, and I only shop for new sneakers when there's a sale around. I'm not gonna pay full price for any sneaker. In my head, I'm like, I'm gonna wait a little longer. So I get what you're saying. Now we've talked about the first time transaction, the difficult one, right? Now coming to driving repeats, the second, the third, the fourth transaction. You mentioned one brilliant insight that once the first transaction has happened, there's about a 30 days gestation period before the person becomes comfortable and feels that, yeah, I have the confidence now to invest more. Are there any sort of these replenishment campaigns happening at your end where you say that, you know what, 30 days from the first purchase, X engagement must happen?
So I wouldn't call it a replenishment campaign, but we call it hand holding.
Interesting.
So what we usually do, as I said, it's a plant journey, right? Once you buy a plant, we already have put in slow release fertilizer, which keeps the plant fertilized for the first 3 months. So after 3 months, we'll nudge them. Hey, the fertilizer is now completely exhausted. These are the 3 really good fertilizers for this plant. So we personalize it with the plant that they've bought, which
Interesting.
again increases their confidence or probability of buying.
Correct.
After 3 months, we know that the fertilizer is going to last for 2 months. Then fifth month, we'll again nudge them. Okay, time to top it up. Sixth month, we know that the plant is going to overgrow the pot in which we sold it to. So 6 months ke baad, we'll say, okay, now your plant needs to be repotted into a big pot.
Brilliant.
And then when it's nearing, like monsoon, then we'll say it's time to prune the plant. So it's called hand holding that we do. And basis the season, basis, the number of months when they have first purchased, we are constantly just nudging them and showing that we care about the product that you have bought.
Right.
And we talk in a certain way that, you have adopted a baby from us. So we also care about that baby, even if you have adopted it, and we really want that to really thrive. So that's how the communication happens. And often, oftentimes people just kind of call us or maybe shop again.
At what point does cross pollination happen here? Like you're going to introduce them to a new plant category, for example, that, hey, Priyam, you've bought X category, now time for something bigger and better.
So we often do that. Seeds is a huge category for us, wherein we know let's say if someone has bought the plant and we bucket him into that plant lover category, we know that they would love growing their own food. Or if there is a bucket where we know that, okay, he has a larger space like a backyard and a front yard or a terrace garden, we know he's going to get into seeds and growing his own food. So for that bucket, we are introducing them to this other category. Now again with seeds, there are 2 seasons. Once you sow in June, once you sow in Jan. So we know when to nudge you next. Plus we know what kind of fertilizer that vegetable is going to need at what time. And what all tools they will need to harvest that vegetable also. So that's with that category. Tools, as I said, like that bucketing really helps us to, because I believe we have very limited times where we can approach the customer. It should not
Right.
be hard sell, right? The
Right.
newer consumer does not like that anymore. So we are very aware and cautious. Ki, okay, maybe we reach out only like 4 times in 6 months, and how to really optimize that. So maybe the emailer or the message is longer, but we try to approach lesser times.
Interesting. So incessant engagement is not appreciated by the customer. Hey, that's a big
I
sort of
feel brands are built that way.
amazing. Amazing.
Businesses can definitely chase you down to shop, but if you want to build a brand, you have to be very cautious of how many times are you really nudging them or reaching out to them.
Absolutely. Contextual engagement is something that we vouch for. We try to teach our brands as well at WebEngage. And that brings me to my next question, which is about maximizing customers' lifetime value, Sid. You've mentioned that you want to make sure that the engagement is happening in a way where it is very contextual, right? You don't want to incessantly sell them stuff. What is it that you guys have seen impacting CLTV positively? Like certain activities that you've done which have ended up maximizing the lifetime value?
So we do surveys. We know some dormant customers which have stopped buying from us. Now the first way to reach out to them is not really ये नया product आ गया आप ले लो.
Right. Okay.
What we do is we do like a questionnaire, 2 3, and then we give a 200 rupee ka coupon.
Okay.
And we say, give your feedback. We know that you've stopped shopping from us, and what did we do wrong? What happened? Is there any chance you'll come back? All these questions. These are just some basic ones. So most of them, just to get that coupon, they will answer and all. And once they get that coupon, then they're bound to shop. So surveys is one thing that we do, and NPS questionnaires is what we do. Apart from that, I think sale ka thoda emailer or a newsletter that we do is another thing that we hope that they'll read someday or open and again kind of come back to us.
Do you feel that there is a correlation where people who are religiously reading the newsletter are also the ones who transact the most and have the higher average order values compared to the rest of the cohort?
In fact, the people opening the newsletters are not really buying.
Wow.
They're more readers, they are more consumers of information and all. So, I mean, that was one surprising thing for me, that
Interesting.
the overlap was not that much. In fact, they were not buying. They just wanted to know, read more, and probably they would be buying from a local nursery or their neighborhood garden store or agro store. I see at newsletters as a brand building thing. I don't see it as a ROI.
Yeah, like a hack
thing.
basically.
Yeah.
Like
So
amazing.
it's more of like, we are imparting knowledge, and then you can talk about what's happening at the farm, what's happening within the company, like, just giving out free information out there, which really increases the perceived value of the brand. If you do that and, really have meaningful content like an editorial, I think, our user base has kept on increasing month over month, and sometimes we are surprised that, we are getting so many open rates and click rates.
If you don't mind me asking, Sid, what kind of a user base are we talking about? How large is this newsletter, and what kind of an open rate do you have generally?
I think we are right now at some 160,000
Wow.
subscribers for the
Nice.
newsletter, which is growing at a very good pace also.
And what percentage of this 160K are customers, existing customers?
160K mein se almost like 60-70% are customers.
Phenomenal, yeah. And this has an open rate of, do you have those
Closer
numbers
to
handy?
like 18% was the open rate.
Which is not bad at all.
Very good.
That's really good actually. Yeah. Amazing. Considering the scale is massive, that is pretty phenomenal. Amazing. So top tip about newsletters there, duly noted. I'd like to jump to another topic, Sid, which is personalization. We do a lot of work in that regard, and I remember this one very interesting fact that you mentioned, that it becomes very straightforward to personalize at Ugaao because a lot of the cross-selling that is happening because of the initial product that gets purchased. So if I have to sell a fertilizer or a pot, for example, I'm going to link it very closely to the product ID and the type,
Yeah.
right? That's one very sort of essential personalization that is happening at your end. Beyond that, what has Ugaao done in the realm of personalization that has been a game changer?
Honestly, we haven't really done a lot apart from this cross-selling and upselling bit. Um, I mean, what we do is whenever we are having events at the stores, so we do a lot of workshops, on-ground activities. We do tree plantation drives. So, we tend to send these customers, like the top ones, we select, and handwritten notes and
Oh, wow.
invitation cards and all. So that helps us to build a relationship with the customer. But apart from this, I think we haven't really done a lot in this space. And I do wish to, really have that bandwidth and, look at it with I think, a larger lens on how we can really capitalize it.
Interesting. I appreciate the honesty, Sid. And while we are on this topic, anything you mentioned that you want to do more in personalization, right? Anything that you have seen at another brand that really impressed you with regards to personalization, that's awesome. I want to do that for my brand. And it may not be in your category, right?
I really admire the experience that people are giving, right? Like right from the unboxing, you have a
Right.
nice note and
Right.
all. Of course, it's easier to do at like a smaller scale.
Right.
Once you kind of pass a certain scale
Right.
and multiple dispatch centers, it becomes very difficult. So that is one cute thing I like. Then people are, of course, sending messages on your birthdays, free product sampling. I really like what Keels does. I think, yeah, I've been a customer since 5 years, and every birthday they will send me like 5, 6 sampling, those moisturizers and
Nice.
lotions and all, which I really find really nice. So I think these are some of the things that personalization may do good.
Fantastic. I was a little afraid for a second. I thought Sid's not going to name a brand here, but I'm glad you said that. Keels is great. I've read case studies about Keels and their personalization work. They are pretty phenomenal, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Sid. I'll quickly jump to the next one. I want to talk about personas. Are you guys collecting all of the data across multiple customer engagements, across multiple touch points, and bringing that all together to look at your customer cohesively, like a 360 view, and say, you know what, I'm going to create multiple personas because not every customer is the same, but there are commonalities. I'm going to club them together and make sure that the outreach that happens to them is very persona driven.
So we are doing that mostly for the website users.
Okay.
We have not been able to really integrate the offline part and the
Okay.
online part yet.
Right.
Apart from the loyalty program, I think that's one thing that we have been able to implement in both the things. Another thing is that almost 55% of our revenues are coming from marketplace plus quick commerce, wherein we're not really knowing who is it that is repeating or buying. So we're missing out on a lot of data. But whoever is regular with us, whoever is shopping on the app, we do record all of this and then we act on it as well. But honestly, I mean, I wish we could get some data from these marketplaces.
Marketplaces.
I think we could have really built something crazy and value added for the customers.
So what kind, Sid, I'm just trying to understand this better now. What kind of data are the marketplaces sharing with you guys? Is it limited to just stuff you can do on their platforms?
Nothing. They're not
Nothing
even
at all.
sharing. Nothing at all.
Wow.
Not even the name, not even the number, email ID, nothing at all. So, I mean, all we could do is run ads on their platform. So,
Crazy.
we are not
Okay.
really sure who's buying and what they're buying. So, as I said, a lot of people might, like our customers who has bought from the website, might want to buy from a Blinkit because he's going to a party and wants to get a
Right.
gift. So,
Right.
we don't really know how much is his repeat rate,
Correct.
what is his brand affinity. I
Correct.
think there is I would say, black hole that
Interesting.
gray area which
Right.
which I think we are struggling to really overcome when we take
Right.
an informed decision.
Right. So putting this into perspective, said, does this make first party data like a big priority? Because I sense that the marketer in you really wants to get access to that data. It's 45% of your business is massive. Do
Yeah.
you feel that, you know what, I would rather shift them to my own website so that I can
Yeah.
nurture them for longer and better?
Absolutely, that's one of our focus areas for this year and the next year. That we want to shift the buying towards our own website, because that's when you understand the needs. That's when you understand, what that person is actually buying again and again, which is that hero product. What you should probably enhance. What should you introduce also as new product development. So I think going down the line, the more control you have over your customer, the more you will win, the more you will be able to really innovate and add to the product mix. What happens right now is that, when we're somewhat unsure, right? कि भाई ये किधर से है, like is he coming from a tier 2 or a tier 3, and that's why he's buying. We also see that there are some of the stores in a Bhopal or a Nashik that are buying from us in bulk and reselling at their stores. So I mean, it skews our understanding, right? We think, oh, like, he's like really loving it, or maybe so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
people are buying, because we don't know from the marketplaces whether one person has bought 1,000 quantities or 1,000 people have bought one quantity. So that is one part that is missing.
Ah, that's crazy. Okay, I did not know that, Sid, so thank you.
It's actually big in Mortine and Goodnight and like the pest category. Like the retailers actually get better rates on Amazon rather than from Godrej or the parent companies.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So these are insights, I guess, that you'll only get after having served marketplaces for so long. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Now, coming back to the marketing and engagement channels that you have on your platform, Sid, what are the channels that have worked for you best so far?
I think very difficult to name one channel, because the behavior is very sporadic right now. The way people are buying, impulse buying is also there. So I would say, like, we just have to be consistent and uniform across channels and deliver the same message. Uh, we cannot be saying something else on our website and saying something else on the
Yeah.
other channels that
Yeah.
are there. So I think maintaining that consistency, maintaining that tone, and always trying to differentiate from what other players in the category are doing is the only way I think people will be able to relate us. But as far as channels, I think not one, like I cannot point one that has
So
really,
there's no
really.
outlier as such. It's like a combination, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. That brings us to one of the final questions, Sid. What kind of a Martech stack are you guys deploying to run this massive business? And how important is marketing automation in your growth journey?
It is super important. It has made life much easier. It has made the experience much better for the customer, the consumers. It has brought in a lot of comfort wherein people have to think less and they're able to like see all those recommendations and all. So number one is like, you know, like the bot kind of asking you very basic questions. Things like the quiz, which is very essential for someone who's confused. Like imagine going to a plant nursery for the first time, you would be confused, right?
Yeah.
No one teaches in a school ki, which plant to buy or what to pick. So everyone starts with a lot of confusion. So that intervention is really needed. The experience, we kind of do a lot of A/B testing basis the region from that where they're coming. So we see that south and center is more elegant colors, like white, black, grays. North is more colorful, vibrant.
Interesting.
So according to that, we change the mix on the homepage and all. So that is very
Nice.
important. The heat map stack is also extremely important, because that's where is the placement right? Is the creative really appealing, or has it dropped in terms of clicks and all. Apart from that, I think the recommendation engine is very, very important in today's world. And with AI and ML, I think it's more ML coming in. I think more relevant products are being suggested. It was very poor back in 2019 when we were using some of the tools which were developed abroad. But now in India also, we see a lot of nicer tools being developed and good companies, SaaS-based companies coming up. Another thing is loyalty and referral, which is playing a big part. And the best is the retention bit. So the marketing retention tools. I think that's very, very critical
Awesome.
in today's world, because that's how you will keep on communicating with the customer and build the relation even further. The new India is up and coming, and I'm 100% confident that they will adopt many more plants in their life, and they will not look at it as a product. They will more be interested in adopting the greener lifestyle.
Amazing, amazing. What a fantastic answer, Sid. It takes innovation to build a lasting brand. Well, that brings us to an end. I am all out of questions, Sid. Thank you so much for your time. This
Thank you
was
so
a
much,
fantastic discussion.
And that's a wrap on this episode of State of Retention Marketing podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Also, don't forget to share it with your fellow marketers, founders, and anybody who enjoys a good growth story, because great insights deserve great company. Also, if you have any questions for us, find us on our social media channels. We are on LinkedIn and on Instagram. We look forward to hearing from you guys. And we're gonna get a lot of cool guests on our next episode, so stay tuned.